Greetings, fellow Earthlings, and welcome to Tales from the Hoop, a podcast dedicated to diving into the weird, wild, and wacky stories from basketball history. I am your host, Ricky Freck, and today I'm talking about the ABA franchise that started in Oakland with my brother.
Matty Ice.
Oh, okay, new one.
Switching it
Uh,
up today.
so as you probably, hopefully you remember, and maybe the listeners remember, last time out we talked about the start of the ABA, which involved a lot of different stuff. And the reason we're starting with Oakland is because they're the only team that brought in an NBA player. They got an NBA player to jump. Do you
Mm.
remember who that was?
Rick Barry.
Wow, look at you. You're
Yeah.
learning.
And I remember the name of the team too,
What's that?
because it's very difficult to remember.
What's
So,
that?
the Oakland Oaks.
There you go. Okay, so I'm glad you remember that because we're gonna have another little history. I mean, all of this is a history lesson to some degree, but we're gonna have an unrelated history lesson for a second. So I'm just gonna read it as it was written by myself. Now, last time we left you, the ABA had just started, and the first game was between the Oakland Oaks and
The
the
Cincinnati.
Anaheim Amigos in
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
1967.
That's a good name.
Interestingly, at least to me, the Oaks were not the first Oakland team to use that name.
Mm.
Any guesses
Okay.
what team used it before them?
No, but I was thinking it would be a good Oklahoma City. I've always hated the Thunder. I think
It's
that's a bad
trash.
name and really just bad insignia all around. Like it's just horrible.
Yeah, they really got updated. That logo is so bad.
The
Amy was
Oklahoma.
asking the other day
Oh,
why
good.
my wife, Amy, was asking the other day why uh the Memphis Grizzlies are called like why they moved and why they didn't
Oh
change
yeah.
their name. And I was like, well, it's a good thing they didn't, or they would have been like the Thunder and had a terrible name. Although the Memphis Sounds is a great name, which we as a team we will talk about eventually, but
Yeah.
still.
But I was thinking the Oklahoma City Oaks. I like that so much better than the Thunder.
You
You know?
do?
No, sorry. I don't think it's great, but it's better.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah, I mean
it
Thunder is
does
like a
work more
nothing.
for
Thunder's a
Oakland, but.
nothing. It's a nothing word.
Yeah, I guess it's also like oak involves like trees, which we don't have. It's
Yeah,
just
you don't have any
prairie.
trees.
Yeah.
The only time I
No.
like the idea, like a thunder in sports, is when they refer to a duo as like D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. To give you a football reference, because it's all because as of yesterday, it is the start of football season because we had the Hall of
Oh.
Fame game.
Oh,
Um,
really? I didn't see that.
yeah, the Chargers and Trey Lance destroyed the Detroit Lions, and
Oh, wow.
I don't even know
Okay.
who was starting at quarterback for the Lions. It was no one good played for either team.
Hendon Hooker, I think, was
Hind,
the
yes, Hendon
Lions
Hooker
backup
played,
for
correct. And
last year.
Kyle Allen, because I tried
Ooh,
to think of a joke to make on social media about Josh Allen being washed, but
dang.
I couldn't get there. Um, yeah, I think that when they do that, like Jonathan Stewart, the Thunder to D'Angelo Williams is lightning, like a big guy and a fast guy. Unless you have
Hmm.
that, Thunder is not should not be involved in sports. Sonics, such a better name.
Yeah,
Such
really
a better
was.
name. They should send the franchise back to Seattle.
I mean, they're getting an expansion, right? Like it's
I think so. They
that didn't
should.
cool off any. I mean, I feel like we've been talking about it a lot this summer.
Yeah, I would like an expansion. I think there's too many good players in the NBA right now.
Yeah,
Like
I
why
mean,
like how is Amani Bates not getting minutes? I couldn't even get through that without laughing.
I don't want any team, especially mine, to lose players, but it does feel like they're, especially, like the Pacers, the Thunder, like all these deep teams that made
Yeah.
runs this year. It was like, man, if you just took, the seventh through ninth best guys on a few of these teams, put them on their own team, how
Yeah.
good would that team be? So, yeah, it's time. We got to do it.
And I think there's too there I don't know how to put this properly, but I think there's too many stars too, right? Like we have all these super
Mm,
teams. I think stars should be more spread out.
yeah.
But
They've got to, I don't know why they haven't adopted like you can sign the supermax contract or the max contract, whatever contract you sign,
mhm.
and 5% of that doesn't count toward your team's. There has to be some incentive for the
Mm,
team that drafts a player
yeah.
to be able to keep them.
Well, the incentive would be to win games.
What do you mean?
What do you mean what do I mean?
Like I'm saying the incentive for a player to stick with team rather than
Oh,
to
okay.
go to a new team. Right now, there's no reason you
Yeah,
can get a max contract from whatever team is out there.
I see. I thought you said what is the incentive for the team, and I was like, well, that would be to win games, to have the best
No,
players to
no,
win
no, no.
games.
And then there's also like with all the second apron stuff, like the Thunder drafted very well, got a bunch
Hmm.
of good role players that they're going to lose because they aren't going to be able to re-sign them under the apron. It's like, what if some of that didn't count toward their apron number? You know,
Well, yeah, but fortunately they have so many draft picks, it shouldn't matter.
you
I mean,
say that, but draft picks don't like you can't just lose Case and Wallace and be like, well, this other draft pick will work out. It
uh,
might, but it might not.
yeah, I mean, if you have they have what? Their top three guys locked in through 2030. I mean, look,
We're in a great spot.
if SGA is as good as you say he is, he should be able to do it because LeBron's done it with worse.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't think they're in a bad spot at all. I just am. It's obviously I'm only complaining about it because it's going to start affecting my team soon.
Yeah,
But it does just seem like I the and I'm talking out of both sides of the mouth because when the Celtics signed all those guys and traded for they got Porzingis and they had
yeah,
multiple $30 million a year guys and then
yeah,
signed two guys to 60 a year. It's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be able to do a lot beyond that because you're just paying for a championship.
yeah,
But when you draft all of the players, and Shea wouldn't even count for that because we didn't draft him.
yeah,
But when you're giving Jalen Williams and Chet Holmgren max contracts,
yeah,
and then you got a guy like Casey Wallace or Lou Dort, who, well, I guess wasn't drafted, but was undrafted, and we were the first team to sign him. There's got to be some way to like keep those people together when you did exactly what the system was designed for, which was build your own team, not pay for it. I don't know.
yeah. I mean, I hear you, and I don't disagree. I think that the NBA and most professional sports leagues these days are not in the business of dynasties.
Gross.
As much as I would love to see them, I mean, I am the guy who, and I think you were too, in 2007 was rooting for the Patriots to win, to go 18
Oh
and 0.
yeah, that
I
was
am the
so
guy
dope.
who was very happy when the Patriots came back from 28 to 3. And I don't even like the Patriots. I just like to see great players be great. And Tom Brady is probably the second or third greatest quarterback of all time. So I was
Wow.
rooting for him over Matty Ice because, who cares about Matt Ryan,
Oh
right?
boy, that
What?
is a scorcher. The
What's the
second or
scorcher?
third best quarterback?
Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback to ever live.
No,
It's not even close.
this is silly.
No, it's not even close. And then
This is
I'm
silly.
okay. If I mean, sure. And then, I think Tom Brady is probably second. Almost probably. I have to really, really look at Andrew Luck's career to see. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I love Peyton Manning, and up until like 2014, 15, I think it's an argument that you could have that
An argument?
where you could say, oh yeah, well Brady, has a couple more titles, but Peyton's the better pure passer or whatever you want to call it.
Hmm.
Then like they already both had Hall of Fame careers. And then Brady went and had a second Hall of Fame career after that happened. After Peyton's
Okay.
second title, he retired, and then Brady went on to go have another Hall of Fame career. And it's
If you say,
like,
I don't know. I
you
think,
can't, that's crazy.
and I think that I do to some degree. Like, I am not a compiler guy, right? Like, I don't like. I I'm going to say something, and I know this is not a football podcast, and we really got you back on topic. I'm going to say something that is probably controversial. In fact, I know it's
Oh
controversial.
boy. Oh boy.
Randy Moss is a better wide receiver than Jerry Rice.
Hmm.
Jerry Rice just played for 40 years.
Okay.
Jerry Rice is by, like far and away, he's number one, right? Jerry Rice is the number one receiver, but as a wide receiver, like at their peak,
Okay.
Randy Moss is a better wide receiver. At his peak, Peyton Manning is a better quarterback than Tom Brady. And to me,
Yeah.
that puts him above Tom Brady because they both had really good careers. Peyton Manning is the better quarterback just because Brady hung on for a long time and had really good teams. Not that he wasn't good himself, not that he wasn't good himself,
Yeah.
but he also had really good teams. especially at the first of his career when he was not very good, Tom Brady is number two at best. And as much as I hate him, Patrick Mahomes is coming up fast. Arch Manning is going to be in the league in a couple years and is obviously going to be better. So,
Yeah, you're right. This isn't a
and
football podcast, but you're
and
insane.
JJ McCarthy, soon to be
I'm
number
glad this
one.
isn't a football podcast because we'd be on this all day.
Okay, let's get back into the actual topic at hand before we keep going down more tangents because you have to get out of here, and I think this podcast might go a little long. So, back to my tangent about the Oaks, which was it's weird that we went from one tangent to another tangent, but here we
Yeah.
go. In 1903, the Oakland Oaks were one of the charter members of the Pacific Coast League, which was an A-level minor league baseball league. The team played in Oakland for 52 years, leaving the city in 1955 to move to Vancouver, changing its name to the Mounties. And while we're here are the other baseball teams that also played in Vancouver: the Beavers, the Maple Leafs,
Oh, okay.
the Capellanos,
Yep.
and the Horse Doctors.
Okay.
It's a great name.
Did we figure out why it was horse doctors?
I didn't look that up. I just saw they had
Okay.
Horse Doctors, and I said I got to write this down because that's a great name.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode, it feels like. That's exciting stuff.
Unfortunately, not a baseball podcast. Anyways, the baseball version of the Oaks was largely unaffiliated as a farm team outside of a stretch from 1935 to 1937 when they were with the Yankees. So, because this is a basketball podcast, if you don't know, most minor league teams are affiliated with a professional team and then they send players back and forth. Although usually you wouldn't see like a Yankee go down to A ball. Most, like at worst, they go to AAA. But that doesn't mean they were bad just because they were unaffiliated. They won league titles in 1912, 1927, 1948, 1950, and 1954. And future Hall of Famers, Billy Herman, Ernie Lombardi, Joe Gordon, Mel Ott, who's the only one I've heard of, and Casey Stengel, along with a host of former MLB players like Spider Jorgensen, Cookie Lavagetto, and Vince DiMaggio, Joe's older but much better looking but excuse me, Joe's older, much better looking, but less talented brother played on the team, and I'm sure you can relate to Vince.
Okay. Not where I thought you were going with that.
Where did
I
you think I was
yeah.
going?
I thought well, Joe DiMaggio dated Marilyn Monroe, and his older brother is much better looking.
Oh, well, I don't
That's
think Joe
crazy.
DiMaggio is good. I was just trying to write it as a way that would make us both look good, you know?
I guess. Yeah.
Well, I said more talented. Joe DiMaggio is more talented.
Okay. If you believed that, then it might be a
If I
compliment.
believe that Joe DiMaggio is
Then,
more talented
then
than
I was more
Vince
talented than you.
DiMaggio. Oh,
No,
okay. Yeah, I mean, hey, viewers, you make your own choice. Listeners, excuse me.
we can't
We're
all
on.
be Ricky.
Yeah, we can't all be as great as me. The Oaks also accidentally broke baseball's color barrier in
Okay.
1916.
Okay. So I'm imagining that they just signed players based off name alone. Like they went down the call sheet and just picked their favorites and then
You're not
oh
too
shoot.
you're not too far off. Jimmy Claxton pitched 2 games in a doubleheader after being introduced to the team owners as a Native American.
Hmm,
The Z
okay.
Nut Candy Company even rushed out a baseball card for the pitcher. However, it was revealed a week later that he was actually a black man and he was promptly fired.
Wow.
It would be
Okay.
30 more years before another black man played organized white baseball.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and
Congrats.
also as I was reading this, apparently there was a lot of so I wouldn't say it's like controversial to say that I almost said Pete Rose
Okay.
instead of Jackie Robinson. I don't
Uh-huh.
know why. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier. Um, but there is some speculation, like quite a bit of speculation, that there were a lot of black players in the MLB before him, or at least in organized white baseball, excuse me. And that's because a lot of people said they were from Cuba, and there's some controversies like whether some of them were actually from Cuba.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Again, didn't look too much into that, so don't read too much into it, but it was something I'll probably deep dive later and then not talk
Yeah,
about publicly.
we should read a lot into it.
We should.
Everyone do your own research is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with like, again, we are amateur historians. Do your own research, please. We're just here for fun. All of that matters very little in the grand scheme of things, but not, oh, excuse me. I put that in there. Said that wrong. All of that matters very much in the
Hmm.
grand scheme of things, but not so much to the ABA's Oakland Oaks. As I mentioned last time out, as we talked about a bit earlier, the team had brought in Bruce Hale to be its coach, partially to entice Rick Barry to jump from the NBA. In that first season, if you maybe recall, Barry wasn't allowed to play because of a contract dispute with the San Francisco Warriors, and the team was dreadful without him. So here is what Barry had to say about that. He said, "Poor Bruce Hale didn't have much talent on the Oaks, and he really took a beating. I felt for him. His best player probably was Laverne Jelly Tart. I like Jelly. He carried a gun in his car, and I'm serious about that. But I'm also serious when I said I liked Jelly because he was a 6'3" guard who could shoot. I've always liked scores, and he could fire it up. Future three oh, you got
Carried a
something to
gun
say?
in his car and he could fire it up. I mean, I,
Yeah. Also because he could shoot. Yeah. A
maybe
very
it's
good.
just because Gilbert got out of jail yesterday, but come on. It's crazy.
Gilbert?
Gilbert Arenas.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes, there. Yes, as we'll see later, Rick Barry is like very intentional with a lot of his words, and I'm wondering if in
Oh,
that quote he was saying that stuff for that reason.
that has to be.
But yeah, it's a very good
Yeah,
quote.
that's too on point.
Another guy who was a future three-time ABA All-Star and played for the Oaks in 1967, named Steve Jones, said, "Jelly was our dominant player and personality. He was a tremendous competitor who hated losing, no matter if it was a pickup game with college kids in the Bay Area, in practice with the Oaks, or in the ABA. Laverne wanted to win, and if you were on his team and didn't win, you heard about it in no uncertain terms from him. If he passed you the ball and you fumbled it, that just might be the last pass you'd see from him. He'd rather take a bad shot than give you the ball again."
Okay,
Sounds a little
respect
bit
it.
like one Kobe Bryant, the 15th best player in NBA history.
Oh boy. Okay.
You
Um.
don't do you not remember our hot takeoff?
Again. Yeah. No. 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 I reference it often.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think anytime someone brings up a top 10, it's one of the first things I go to. My brother thinks that Kobe is well outside the top 50 or top 10.
50. Oh. Well,
Yeah.
so the top 50 would be crazy. If someone
And
said
it
outside the
is
top
fun.
50, whew,
There are a ton of people that are like, yeah, for sure. He's probably right. But the people that are impassioned are the other way.
the
They
Kobe
really don't like.
heads,
They really don't like you.
the Kobe heads that believe he did nothing wrong in Colorado.
Yes. I don't know if they would say that specifically, but they would say that the legacy outshines, you know.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't say
think
that.
I think we shouldn't root for Kobe Bryant in general, but it is a tragic that he died so soon. And I also think that a lot of people get into the hype of again, not to relitigate the hot takeoff, but I think people get really into the Black Mamba thing and believe all the stuff, kind of like with like Wilt Chamberlain, like all the crazy stuff Wilt Chamberlain claims to have done.
Hmm.
People just like believe it,
Believe the
even
hype, yeah.
whether it was true or not, or whether like the actual stats with Wilt Chamberlain, the actual stats that are listed do bear out. Kobe, I'm not so sure.
He
I
did
just,
have a magical press run
yeah,
after
for
his
sure,
playing career.
for
So
sure, yeah. But maybe as Draymond says, maybe we shouldn't love him like that. Um, God, I can't wait for that guy to have his like end of career tour and no one cheer for him. It's going to be so great. And from all accounts, Jelly was a head case. He played for 6 teams across 4 years and averaged 19.4 points a night. Now, if you're wondering why he played for so many teams despite being a great scorer, here's another Steve Jones story that he told about Jelly's last game for the Oaks in 1968, midway through that first season. It came to a head in Minnesota when Jelly had one of his 30-point first halves. Donnie Freeman was with Minnesota, and I said, "Donnie, Jelly might get 60 tonight." Donnie said, "Steve, he'll be lucky to get 3 more baskets." I said, "No way, the man is on fire." Well, Minnesota started double and triple teaming Tart every time he touched the ball. At first, Tart threw a few passes to guys who were open, but they missed the shots. Then Tart said, "That's it." And he started firing it up and missing. During a
Wow.
timeout, Hale, their coach, Hale, said, "Laverne, you're forcing it." Tart said, "Forcing it? I'm not forcing nothing. They're just playing good defense." Hale said to Andy Anderson, "Andy, go in for Laverne." But the timeout ended, and Tart took the ball and went on the court. He grabbed the ball before Andy could get into the game. So Andy went to the scores table to wait for a dead ball situation. He went into the game and said, "Jelly, I'm in for you." Tart said, "No, you're in for someone else." Andy looked at the bench and said, "Coach, he won't come out." Hale stood there and said, "He won't come out. What do you mean he won't come out?" Andy said, "He won't come out. That's what he said." Hale said, "Go back there and tell him he's out of the game." Tart said, "I told you, you've got someone else. I ain't coming out. Got that?" Andy went back to Hale, then back to Tart for a third time, trying to get him out of the game. Tart had his fist all balled up and said, "If you're coming for me, you're coming for the wrong guy." Eventually, Tart left that game, and Freeman was right. I think he ended up with something like 36 points. So they shut him down in the second half, but that was the end between Hale and Tart, and that led to Tart being traded to New Jersey.
I mean that is grounds for trade, 100%. I can't argue with that.
Yeah.
But it is such a great. I mean, it's almost like a semi-pro esque plot line of
Oh yeah. I
like,
mean, yeah, they definitely read this book, just so you know.
okay, I am going to beat my teammate up if you take me because like I'm not leaving,
Yeah.
so someone will not be entering this game.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have to take me down. I love
Yeah.
it. I
Very
mean,
good.
it's terrifying and horrible and shouldn't act that way, but it is awesome.
I would like to see some people do that in the modern NBA. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. I'm sure they've like refused, but just like not come out of the, I mean, I've actually seen it relatively recently in soccer where a goalkeeper, they tried to ask a goalkeeper to come out and he like waved them off and wouldn't leave the game. It's pretty
Yeah, I
great.
don't know. Can you like penalize? Is that a penalty? Can you get onto your? Can you ask the ref to like give
Yeah,
your own player a card?
that's a great question. I have no idea.
That's
I don't like
I
what would they do in the NBA if he was like, no, LeBron's like, no, I'm not coming out of the game.
I would bet the NBA has a rule in place. Soccer, I don't know why I think there'd be less rules, but like there's got to be a technical or like that's a flagrant or something. Like
Yeah.
they're so smart about wanting to control the situation that I do feel like there's got to be something in
And
place.
you know if there is a rule, Chris Paul knows it for sure.
Yeah, Chris Paul
I watched
is
like a
like intentional about.
I watched like a 20-minute video of like Chris Paul knowing the rules and every time it gets more funny or something, every time it gets funnier.
Hmm.
And it's just like him knowing all the rules and telling like getting people in trouble. It's a very good video.
Did it end with the jersey untucked
I was
buzzer
definitely in
beater?
there. I don't remember what
Oh
was the
my
last one,
gosh.
but yeah, that was very good.
That's when I learned of Chris Paul's greatness. Like everyone always, on the Clippers, it was like he's the smartest guy in basketball, and I knew he was good, but I didn't know the depths that it went to.
He
And then I was at that game, and I
yeah.
was like, this is the smartest man alive.
He is very smart. And I don't know if I would put again, I know I'm like LeBron glazing a little bit today.
Oh no.
Um, but I do like LeBron has an eidetic memory for basketball games. It's a, like
Yeah.
the stuff he can remember from every game he's ever not just played in, but seen. I saw a thing where he was like talking about the offense he ran in high school.
Hmm.
It's like, what? How
Dang.
does he know this? He's 40 years old. How does he remember this?
I saw a clip with Rondo talking about playing, like them playing together,
Mm-hmm.
and how it was basically I don't remember who did what, but like one of them was like I got offense and you got defense,
Yeah.
and they just commanded everyone. They were like the generals in battle, just telling everyone what to do all the time. And but both their IQs are so high that it was
Yeah.
just like I know exactly what's going to happen all the time.
It's
He's like,
crazy.
that's why we won a title is because we were on the same team,
It's wild. I
which
mean, yeah,
makes you
yeah,
wish they would have played together earlier. But
yeah, and it's like it's not like they won titles separately or anything ever. That never happened. That's a weird thing to say. That we only won a title because we're together. You both won
no, no,
titles
no,
separately.
they not that they won. That team won because
Was
they
this the
were
Cleveland team or the Lakers team? I
the
can't remember which one
Lakers.
Rondo's on. Okay.
The Lakers.
Yeah. I'm sure it had nothing to do with Anthony Davis
Maybe they
or
made him
Patrick
better.
Beverly.
Maybe they made Anthony Davis better. Was
Eh,
Beverly on that team?
I don't know, but I know he's on a team at one point.
Gross. He was on team.
Oh, sorry, he was on the Lakers.
Insert. He was on insert team.
he was on the Lakers with LeBron and Anthony Davis at one point, and I thought
That's
it was during the
nuts.
bubble, but I could be wrong. All right, so with the worst record in the league and no star, things might have looked bleak. But as the calendar turned on that first season, quite a few things changed that instantly turned around the Oaks' chances. Now, of course, the return of, well, I say return, but the arrival, really, of Rick Barry was a major boon. In his first season, which was the second season, he averaged 34 points a night to make the All Star team and finish in fifth in MVP voting. But he only played in 35 games.
Okay. Exciting.
Could you imagine finishing in
Yeah.
fifth and playing in less than half the season?
Yeah.
So he tore up his knee and he wasn't really, so he tore up his knee and wasn't really the catalyst for the turnaround. Instead, a lot of that second season can be attributed to a few crucial moves made by owner Ken Davidson. So definitely remember his name for later too. First, he moved Hale from the bench as a coach into the front office. Then he brought in former Warriors coach Alex, and I'm going to butcher this. I should have looked it up because he comes up multiple times. Alex Hannum, to
Yeah.
take over as a coach. So this guy had coached, I believe he coached Rick Barry in San Francisco. So
I
he
wonder
kind
who made that happen.
yeah. In respect to his coaching style, here's how he described his own first training camp, or actually his training camp in general. If you weren't in shape for my training camps, you regretted it for a month because it was the worst month of your life.
Oh boy.
Thomas Cherry, who played under Hannum with the Warriors, also said, "When I think of Alex's training camps, I think of guys throwing up."
Great. What a
So they were
fun.
like the most well-conditioned team in basketball. And also back in those days, there was like a kind of a general rule of thumb that players would work themselves into shape during the season, so they didn't really have to come in
Okay.
shape,
Yeah.
right? This guy did not feel that way. Also,
Okay.
the team traded Steve Jones, who we mentioned earlier, to New Orleans, and it was for a package deal that included Doug Moe and Larry Brown. Now, we're going to talk about those two much more in later episodes, but they do factor in here a little bit. The duo were both All Stars during their first season in New Orleans, with Moe averaging 19 a night and Brown dropping 12 points and 7 assists. And if those names sound familiar, yes, that is future head coaches Larry Brown and Doug Moe. So, Larry Brown, of course, the Hall of Famer, and Doug Moe, a very good coach with the Spurs, I believe, in the 90s, and a longtime assistant, actually, of Larry Brown.
Okay. I knew the name, but I couldn't have told you what he did.
Larry Brown or Doug Moe?
Doug
Oh, I was,
Moe.
I was like,
I
surely
definitely
you
know
know
Larry
Larry
Brown.
Brown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. On top of that, they brought in a rookie named Warren Jabali, a physical 6'2" guard who averaged 21.5 points to win Rookie of the Year. And
Dang.
then
Okay.
in the playoffs, he upped that to 28.8, leading the Oaks to a title and picking up playoffs MVP. So second year, won a title. Things are going great.
Love it.
Despite the championship, Oakland struggled to get any fans in the door. They had a real problem with fans coming into the arena, so money was tight.
That's so sad.
Then Ken Davidson talked to fellow owner Pat Boone. He wanted Boone to sign a blank check so they could pay down their debts. He couldn't remember the number, but it was somewhere like 251,000, 245,000 around there. So just sign it. We both have to sign it. I'll take it to the bank. We'll get things fixed. He took the bank to the check, or he took the bank to the check. He took the check to the bank, and the banker filled it in for $1.3 million.
Dope. Yeah.
When
As
Boone
they should.
asked, when Boone asked Ken about it, Ken said that he didn't want to be an owner anymore, and somehow that wasn't really explained when I was trying to look at, both in the book, which is called Loose Balls by Terry Pluto. I didn't mention that up at the top, but also just trying to look through some news stories. Didn't really explain how Ken Davidson got out of owning the team, but he did, and he turned everything over to Pat Boone, and Boone was in the hole for about $2 million.
Okay. Exciting.
Boone would have had to sell his house to keep the team, and also his life was quickly deteriorating because he was spending so much time trying to keep the Oaks in business. Here's how he described that period of time. The debt had risen to over $2 million. If something miraculous didn't happen, I was going to lose my house and be held up to public ridicule. That's where we stood on Wednesday, with the Friday deadline bearing down on us. On Thursday, nothing happened. except that Shirley and I prayed a lot. On Friday, there was a meeting at the Bank of America, and when I walked in, a fellow by the name of Earl Foreman was there, and he had a banker with him. I had never met either of these gentlemen. Earl Foreman said, Pat, I want to buy the Oakland Oaks. How much? I couldn't believe it. My miracle, my miracle was standing right in front of me. I stammered a bit and said, 2.5 million. So good on this guy for getting a
Yeah.
little bit more than he needed.
Oh yeah.
Foreman said, I'll take it now. I want to move the team to Washington. And that's how the Oaks moved to Washington and became the Caps.
Okay.
Now, there was one small problem with the move.
Uh-oh.
Rick Barry has claimed over and
Oh
over again
no. Oh no. Golly, this guy just can't be happy.
that he had a verbal agreement with Boone and Davidson that he would never have to leave the Bay Area. The team
Mm,
wouldn't leave and he would not have to leave with them. However, as you might have noticed, I said verbal agreement because he
yep.
never got it in writing, but Alex Honnold did. So the coach was out. He didn't have to go with the team.
Okay.
He stayed home.
Okay.
Barry, actually signed a deal with the Warriors to go back.
Yeah.
He
I
did
would.
not want to play in Washington, but Earl Foreman took him to court and he won. Barry had to play in Washington.
Oh wow. I didn't know this.
Yeah. So to his credit, he never threw a fit after losing and was described as a quote consummate pro by Foreman.
That's
With
not like the Rick Barry that I know of. That's crazy.
Don't worry, we'll get to the Rick
Okay.
Barry
Okay.
you
Okay.
know soon.
Heck yeah.
With the problem solved, it was on to the next several issues. So Foreman brought in a guy called Al Bianchi, who I also am probably butchering, to coach the team. He had NBA experience, but this is crazy. This is so insane. The league, despite moving to Washington, D.C., the league kept the team on a Western Division schedule.
Great. Yeah.
They
Oh
played
my lord.
57 games on the road and 27 at home.
Could you imagine being Rick Barry? Being like,
Yeah, for
I
real.
only did this agreeing to never go, and now I'm traveling
I
double what
mean,
I used to.
to be fair, he's playing on the West Coast, so I mean, at least he gets to see his family.
That's true. Yeah. Still living at home.
Barry and Jabali also both missed time with injury, though they continued to be top scorers when healthy. Both made the All Star team, and Barry finished in second in MVP voting despite only playing in 52 games. Larry Brown was his usual. Excuse me. Larry Brown was his usual self, but his running mate Doug Moe had been traded to Carolina. Here's Bianchi describing the schedule. It was so brutal. We went on road trips for weeks at a time. We played games in cities like, what do you think he's going to disparage? What cities do you think he's going to say?
Midwest cities.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of how, like, this isn't Midwest, but like, is Boise one of them?
No, but
Okay,
a good
then
guess.
I'm gonna guess, you know, Sioux Falls, or I don't want to say St. Louis. I feel like St. Louis used to have a lot more cachet than it does now, but
Yeah, when Nelly was there.
something like that, something over there. Or is that too big? Am I thinking
I'll
way
just tell
too
you,
big?
it was one of them is, at least in my head, very big because it has a very good song that you
Okay.
use the title Wichita and
Okay.
Albuquerque.
Hmm.
I felt like we were a damn traveling circus. I was just happy we still had Larry Brown. When I got really fed up, I'd tell Larry, you want to coach someday? I'm going to go scout. You coach the team.
Great.
Imagine that. Imagine Mike, I don't know how to say his last name. Mike Diagonal is like, oh, you know what? Hey, why don't you just coach the team, Hartenstein?
Yeah. I mean,
I gotta take a break.
if only for a short period of time, that'd be okay, I think.
I do wish player coaches would come back. I think that'd be funny. Like if you
Yeah.
did if you did a week where the coaches got a break, they didn't get, and they weren't allowed to coach, and you just had to coach themselves. I think that
Again, I think a coach brings a lot of value, but I do think it'd be like an interesting. Also,
yeah,
just if every team, if it was an equalizer, like no one had a coach,
yeah,
how fun would that be?
yeah.
Like, I don't think it'd be successful if just one team had a player coach and then
Yeah.
everyone else had 11 assistants that could make all the decisions.
Yeah.
But
But it would, I mean, I could see like, and this might have happened to be honest with you. I could see Steve Kerr being like, hey, Steph, you just coach the team tonight. You tell him what to do.
Yeah,
But
just
I'm not gonna do anything.
or
Or
like,
like if someone's injured, right? Like if Draymond gets hurt or whatever. I almost said if Clay gets hurt. He didn't play there anymore. If one of them gets hurt,
well, I
just
was
let a
gonna
new
say,
coach.
especially when KD was on the Warriors,
Yeah.
I'm sure he was just like, "Go team,"
Go
like,
T.
like what? You don't need to say anything, you
Yeah.
know. You're walking into every arena being better than the other team, so
Yeah,
who
but
cares?
you gotta like, they're there
You
to.
don't. You really don't.
I mean, I think sometimes that it's almost more challenging to get them to play in a
Oh
regular
boy.
season game.
But it doesn't matter. Like their 50% effort is better than most teams.
I guess
Like,
so. I don't
have you
know.
seen the clips that are like very specifically set up to make it look like they were just loafing?
No.
It's just like them before like pregame
Yeah.
warm-ups and they're just like barely stretching and like barely laughing. I think it was Clay or one of them said like Steve Kerr got mad at us because we didn't even want to go work out. Like we were just
Yeah.
like, we're gonna win. Like we don't need to warm
We're
up, you
gonna
know?
win. That's crazy. Yeah. I think it would be fun to do it for like a week. Like don't
Yeah.
do Christmas games, do no coach games. See
Yeah.
what happens. We
I
need some more
agree.
gimmicks or like, I mean, I guess they do that with the All-Star games sometimes or the rookie challenge when like James Harden is the coach of the sophomores.
Yeah.
So I guess we get that a little bit. That's fun.
Yeah.
All
They
right,
gotta fix that.
back to our story. The team made the playoffs but lost in 7 to the Denver Rockets. At the end of the season, it looked like a merger might finally be happening. But Washington's geography was a potential stumbling block because, as you probably know, the Baltimore Bullets were already in the NBA. Unlike Los Angeles, which arguably can't support two teams, but this city definitely could not support two teams. And the team was doing absolutely terrible in attendance once again. Foreman didn't want to go back to Washington. He said, I can't go back to this team. Or I can't go back to this city. There's no way we can make it. But he sensed a business opportunity. So this is how he put it. Both leagues wanted me to move and to get out of the Baltimore Bullets and Abe Pollins territory, but I wasn't going to move. Or at least that's what I said. I
Okay.
sensed this was a chance to get a really good deal. Inside, I knew there was no way I could go back to Washington. Not in that arena, not after how lousy we drew. I'd die if I stayed in Washington, but I kept saying I wasn't going to budge because if I showed any weakness, I was finished.
Okay. Well, I respect it.
He was offered a free franchise and moving costs to any open territory.
Wow. Okay.
But then the merger fell through because of a lawsuit, so everything evaporated. Foreman still had to move the
Rick
team.
Barry's lawsuit.
No, actually, I believe it was Oscar Robertson.
Oh wow.
Robertson. Um, but Foreman still had to move the team because, as I mentioned, they weren't getting any fans. So he did some research and he settled on Virginia. Now, you might be like, Virginia, that's not a city. You're correct because Virginia was a regional team, which, as the ABA found out several times, did not work. So the Caps were dead. And now the Caps were dead after a year, and they were now christened the Virginia Squires,
Okay.
which is a team you've
So they
probably
would
heard
just
of.
move around to different cities and play like different arenas throughout
Yeah, so
Virginia.
they didn't have a true home arena. Instead, they tried to pursue a regional model, as I said, and play games in Norfolk, Hampton, and Richmond. They originally were also going to play in Roanoke, and
Okay.
then they found out that stadium was not big enough.
Okay.
And also, immediately upon arriving, Rick Barry pissed off every fan in Virginia.
Sounds about right.
So he did a Sports Illustrated story posing in the new red, white, and blue uniforms, and he said, and this is to me like this is so nothing, but apparently it was a big deal in the 70s. He said he didn't want his kids growing up saying, "Hi, y'all, Dad,"
Okay.
which all the
Yeah.
Southerners got really mad about and said that how dare he not love our culture. Um,
Okay.
and so you might be thinking, oh, he just said that he wasn't like didn't really mean it, not a big deal, or you might think Rick Barry was being cunning and trying to get out of his deal. Which one do you think?
Um, Cunning.
Let's hear Barry's own words. When I made the "Hi y'all, Dad" comment, I figured that would force Earl's hand. I knew it would upset enough people that he'd get me out of Virginia.
Love it. Yeah.
My
Seems right
wife,
up his alley.
yeah, my wife and kids on the West Coast. My wife and kids had stayed on the West Coast, and I was alone in Washington. That was no good for any family. I even offered to buy back my own contract from Earl so I could go to the NBA and play for the Warriors, but he refused. Now, I didn't put this in here, but I do want to point out he offered to buy his contract for like $200,000. Earl Foreman claims he got $25,000 out of this deal we're about to talk about. So Earl
Mm,
Foreman gave up a lot of money for what's about to happen.
okay.
Uh, Foreman didn't necessarily have to have Rick. He wanted him, sure, but the important thing was keeping him away from the NBA. So what
Mm,
he did is he traded him to the Nets because that was a big market. He could move his family there. He could get everything he wanted. So Foreman said, I was now out from under Rick's contract, and I'd get all the money from the gate when he came to Virginia, and all the fans came out to boo him. Not a bad deal at all. Rick Barry would disagree, so would I, because if he really was going to give him $200,000 instead of the $25,000 he got, I think that he probably should have taken it. But
yeah, absolutely.
I'm no businessman myself. Barry spent 2 years with the Nets before heading back to the NBA to finish out his Hall of Fame career with the Warriors and the Rockets. Fortunately for the Squires, they still had Larry Brown, and Doug Moe had come back to the team. Plus, they drafted Charlie Scott out of North Carolina, who's a name you probably don't know. But the first year, 65, he's a 6'5" guard, dropped 27 points a night in his first season, won Rookie of the Year, finished third in MVP voting. We're going to talk about it in a minute, but he went on to become a Hall of Famer, so he's definitely a name people might know.
Okay.
They were all,
Scott.
yeah. They'd also moved to the Eastern Division, so they had a more manageable schedule. They got to actually play home games this year, and the Squires finished with a division leading record of 55-29, but lost to the Kentucky Colonels in the Eastern Finals after besting Rick Barry's Nets in the first round. The next year, things got even better. Scott brought his average up to 34.6 points a night, leading the league in scoring. But that's not the main reason things were looking good. It was time for Julius Erving to enter the scene.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, that was our good cutoff point, but we have plenty of time. So we're going to keep pushing through. Bob Ryan, a sports reporter who watched Irving in college, and you probably know from Pardon the Interruption.
Oh yeah. Rest in peace. To the show, not to Bob
Oh,
Ryan.
sounds
Sorry.
like Bob Ryan's dead. Oh no.
No, pardon the
Uh,
interruption.
he said this about Julius Irving. I could sense that he was bored playing college ball, especially in the Yankee Conference. If you don't know this, Irving played college basketball at UMass, which until
Okay.
John Calipari came there in the 90s was not a very good team. I thought he had a chance to be a dominant rebounder as a pro, but I never imagined he'd become Dr. J, a guy who wasn't just a franchise player, he was the ABA itself. Now, the Nets wanted him, but so did the Squires. Most of the other owners had never even heard of him. They bring him up in meetings and be like, who is this Julius Irving guy? No one had ever seen him. No one knew what he could do, except for a couple of people. At a league meeting during Irving's junior season of college, there were heated arguments between the two teams, between the Nets and the Squires. And then another guy who had never heard of him was like, hey, we're going to take a 10-minute break. When we come back, you get this figured out. And ultimately, Foreman bought Irving's rights for just $10,000. So apparently the Squires wanted him more than the Nets.
Yeah, okay.
So the Squires already had a couple of good small forwards. One guy named George Irvin was at the first training camp before the veterans got there. This is how he described Irving's first practice. The first thing I noticed was his afro. It was the biggest afro I had ever seen. Like all rookies, Julius was very nervous. He was friendly, but very quiet, trying to feel the situation out. For a while, he just sat and watched. Then he came into play, and I was guarding him. He started going around me, hell, jumping over me. The kid did things I had never seen before. And that one little instance with Irvin was pretty much the only time Irving played in training camp, at least in the rookie camp, because he was too
Okay.
good. The team didn't want to risk some like young guy trying to prove themselves and injuring him. They knew he was already going to be one of their best
Right.
players, so they're just like, just get him out of here. Get him out of here.
Yeah.
We don't want to do it. In fact, Foreman came to a practice and he was like, I got to see this Julius Irving guy play. And they're like, he's not here, coach, or he's not here, sir. And like, why? We don't want him to get hurt. He's got to go. He went home.
Yeah. Which I love. Before we move off of Julius Irving's afro, I do have a slight tangent,
Okay.
but I think the world needs to know this. about where we are with the state of afros. So I have a godson, and
Uh-huh.
he's trying to grow out his afro.
Yeah.
And the other day we were working on it. We were styling it for the day, and I
Okay.
said, he's like, "Oh, it's looking good." I said, "Yeah, you're getting close to like a Julius Irving level." And he said, "Who's that?"
Ooh.
And I said, "It should be your Afro inspiration. Like it's the greatest, one of the greatest Afros of all time." And he's like, "I've never heard of him." And I said, "Well, who is your Afro inspiration?" And he said, "Bob Ross," without missing a beat.
Bob Ross.
And I was
It's
like,
amazing.
"We have got to get you on some better Afro inspiration. This is
Bob
insane."
Ross.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my God.
that's where we're at in the world.
Oh, that's
I couldn't believe it.
that's the second in as many days. That's one of the that's another yesterday. So this is completely a tangent, but these are two stories that I will tell someone else's grandkids when I'm an old man because I'm not going to have any kids of my own.
Okay.
But I will tell people that story for the rest of my life. And just like this one, a guy I work with who's 25 years of age.
Oh no.
Last year he had his first dinner roll, excuse me,
Okay.
in his life. And yesterday we were talking about something, and kind of out of nowhere, he basically it was like I was saying that one video game is bad, and someone was like, "Oh, I got to have this guy here as my backup. I won't name him just in case I don't want
Yeah.
you know." And I was like, can we trust him because he had his first dinner roll last year?" And he said, "Ricky, I have something to tell you. Yesterday I had my first hamburger with a bun."
Oh boy.
And he was like,
How do you even explain that? I don't.
"I don't like bread." And but there was a good looking um food truck, and when I got my burger, I was afraid people would judge me. So I took the
I
bread
don't
off.
like bread. Okay.
And then he said he said, so I swallowed my pride, which is the funniest part to me that it was pride.
Yeah. Yeah.
Swallowed
This
my
is
pride
killing
and,
me.
ate the burger with the bread.
Wow. Yeah.
What an incredible moment.
Yeah. Never have I felt older than when someone said, "I don't know who
Oh,
Julius Irving is. Bob Ross is my
but
Afro
isn't Bob
inspiration."
Ross is pretty old too? When did Bob Ross get popular?
He's a meme though. I mean, like, I think the Bob Ross meme is
Julius
newish.
Irving is still alive, isn't he?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's
Well, if
no
he is,
memes about him.
uh, yeah, but I mean, he's like a top 20 player of all time.
I
Even
don't
my
disagree.
wife knew Julius Irving.
I don't disagree.
I'm always like, you're not going to know any of these people. But with this one, I was like, you would know Julius Irving.
You
And
should
she
ask her who
does.
has a better afro, and that's the real test.
What they need is a Julius Irving Chia pet because that Bob Ross is his
Mm,
Chia pet. That's not
that's
fair.
true. That's true.
Uh, okay, so as I said, he was too good, and his legend already was starting to spread around the league. Before playing his first game, he was already being talked about in hush whispers by owners, coaches, and players alike. And teammate Willie Sojourner coined the Doctor nickname. And this is something that was kind of funny to me because the phrase he's about to use I thought was modern. It is not. So he would
Okay.
say, "There's the doctor digging into his bag again," every time Irving came up with a new dunk during training camp.
Oh yeah, that's you said that's not modern phrase.
I thought
You thought it was
I thought it
new.
was like something new,
I
like
see what you're saying.
out of pocket and in his bag. I thought those were new phrases,
I
but
definitely
apparently
thought that it was a new-ish term.
no. Apparently it's been around at least since 1972.
We recycle everything, you know.
You're not wrong. Johnny Kerr put it like this. He said, "A young Julius Irving was like Thomas Edison.
Okay.
He was inventing something new every night,"
Heck yeah,
which is great.
love that.
Uh, the doctor averaged 27 points and 16 rebounds during his rookie season, finishing in second behind Artis Gilmore for Rookie of the Year and making the All Star team. He and Scott led the team to the Eastern Finals, but lost to Barry's Nets in a quasi revenge series. Scott was out after the season. He was tired of the ABA's hard life of travel, so he went to the NBA and had a Hall of Fame career with the Suns and Celtics. So now this was Dr. J's team. The Squires did bring in George Gervin as a rookie, but he wouldn't become the Iceman for a few years. Now you know George Gervin, right? I don't
Yeah,
have to explain the Iceman. Okay, good. I
yeah.
will
You
explain a
said
lot.
George Irvin earlier, and I was
Oh,
like, that would suck to be George Irvin when George Gervin is who he is.
yeah. Yeah. So we'll talk more about him when we do this episode on the Spurs. But we'll just go with here. So Irvin was the team. Heck, he was, as Bob Ryan said, the league, and it was clear that he was being underpaid drastically. So before the 1972 draft, this This is one of the wildest things I've ever heard
Okay.
in terms of like deals happening. Irving signed a deal with the Hawks. Remember,
Okay.
he has not been drafted. He has not been in the NBA draft. He just signs a deal with the Hawks. So he's hoping to jump to the NBA, but the Hawks don't have a draft pick.
Okay. Exciting.
So there's a guy you might not know, Wayne Embry, who was, I'm going to actually, let me check and see if I have a quote from him later. I don't think I do. So Wayne Embry was a player and he had become part of the front office with the Bucks. And he would
Okay.
eventually go on to win, I think he won NBA Executive of the Year in like 1988 or whatever. Um, and he had played pickup basketball against Julius Irving when Julius was like a high school junior, and
Okay.
Irving just like destroyed him. So he's one of those people who knew about Irving when other people didn't, and just be like, we got to get this. We have to draft him. I don't care what people are doing. Draft him. So the Bucks picked him, and the NBA ruled in Milwaukee's favor, which Irving described as a quote real problem. So a couple of things happen here, right? So Earl Foreman took the case to court, and he won. Irving had to stay in the ABA. He could not go to the NBA.
Okay. Yep.
Also, the NBA ruled that the Hawks had to pay the Bucks $250,000 and two second round draft picks for like going up behind the league's back and trying
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
bring
Yeah.
in Irving. And Milwaukee still had Irving's rights for if he came to the NBA. So the Hawks got nothing.
Dang. That's crazy.
The only thing the Hawks got was that Dr. J played in two exhibition games while they were ironing out all of these details. However, then the Hawks had to pay Milwaukee another $25,000 per game for those two exhibition games.
Dang. I was gonna say I hope they sold out and got at least some money back, but
Yeah.
nope.
And in the words of the guy I mentioned earlier, Wayne Embry, it was a real mess.
Yeah.
And while Irving had a solid season while all this was going on, he averaged 32 points, 12 boards, 4 assists, 2.5 steals, and 2 blocks a night. It didn't end well for Virginia. So they got him for that year. But when Irving had signed with the Squires 2 years ago, it was kind of, I didn't talk about this a lot because it doesn't, I mean, it matters, but we didn't need to go all the way into the details. But he had been represented by two agents. So there were two guys there. One really wanted him to go to the NBA, and one didn't. Um, and so basically what happened is he had two agents. One of them was named Steve Arnold, and he was also working for the ABA.
Okay.
So that was kind of a conflict of interest, obviously, like trying to get him to the ABA. Maybe he didn't get the best contract he could have. And Doc claimed he'd been improperly represented and wanted out of his contract. He knew he could make more money elsewhere, and he felt that he had been, given the runaround, despite everyone else saying he had not been given the runaround. But he felt that way. And it went to court, but before it could be litigated, the two sides settled. Irving was traded to the New York Nets, who had just lost Rick Barry, for $1 million and George Carter. Doc got a new contract, and in his first season, the Nets won a title in 1974, but of course, we'll talk about them in a later episode. Meanwhile, the Squires, who had just lost Dr. J, the best player in the league, they lost 56 games, but somehow they still made the playoffs.
Okay. Fantastic.
Now, they didn't make it very far, so it didn't really matter. And here, gosh, sorry, it's so bad. Gervin took a big step. He averaged 25 a night, but he was traded to San Antonio right after All-Star Weekend for $250,000. Center Sven Nader was another bright spot, but he was also traded to the Spurs even earlier in the season than Gerving, and he went on to win Rookie of the Year. Virginia got $300,000 out of him. So they've just traded away their three best players for about $1.5 million. So that kept the team in business, but they didn't win any games. Plus, fans were frustrated that the team was so good at drafting star talent, but refused to keep any of it as Foreman needed the money to keep the team afloat. So fans were not going, and between 1975 and 1976, the Squires won 30 games, 15 games a year.
Okay.
During the 76 season, Al Bianchi was fired after a 1-6 start. Mac Calvin, who was a player for the team, he got hurt, and they had him coach for 6 games, and he lost 6 straight. And then they brought in a coach named Bill Musselman, who went 4-22. Then Jack Anderson coached 2 games, going a very respectable, at least for this team, 1-1. before Zelmo Beatty, Hall of Famer, former Celtic, joined the team to end the season on a 9-33 record. That final season
Sheesh.
was, yeah, that final season was an unmitigated disaster that might be best summed up by this news story involving David Vaughn, a 6'11 center who was supposed to be the foundation of the new team. This is just a news story. Virginia Squire center David Vaughn was shot by a Chesapeake policewoman after a high-speed chase. It began when Vaughn filled up his rented, and he got shot, but he was not killed. Just to be clear.
Okay.
So you can laugh at what's about to a little bit. You can laugh a little bit about what's about to happen.
Okay.
Sorry. It began when Vaughn filled up his rented Mach 4 at a Shell gas station in Great Bridge, Virginia, then pulled away without paying for $14 worth of gasoline.
Okay.
Three, three police cars ended up chasing Vaughn, who refused to pull over. Police said that the upper part of Vaughn's body could be seen through the sunroof during much of the chase. Just a great visual. This very
Right.
tall man in a very small car being
Yeah.
chased by cops. During the chase, Vaughn rammed into three police cars and the automobile of a woman. When police finally blocked Vaughn's car, there was a struggle to get him out, and in the process, Vaughn was shot by a policewoman who had been on the force for only a month.
Oh my gosh.
Vaughn was charged with 4 counts of attempted murder with an automobile, 1 charge of felonious hit and run, and reckless driving. Sorry. The day before this incident, he was arrested for indecent exposure in Virginia Beach while walking outside his house wearing only a t-shirt.
Do we
Vaughn,
know what's up with this guy? Do we have the story on like?
uh, let me finish and then I'll tell
Okay.
you. Vaughn told arresting officers, "God is naked too."
Well, he does have a point.
So this man was Winnie the Poohing outside of his house
Winnie the Pooh.
and said, "God is naked too." So he had just gone through a really rough divorce,
Oh,
and
okay.
his friends thought he was having some mental problems because of that.
Dang.
But yeah, there was some stuff, definitely some stuff going on. But still, a sad, scary, but also very funny police
Dang.
report, I'm sure. Another story from a guy. I'm gonna butcher this one too. David Twardzik. It's spelled Twardzik. So
Okay.
you tell me. Had another story about how strange the team was. This is a good one. We had so many different kinds of guys come and go that year. We had Lionel Billingsley. One day we were writing checks for a charity for $12. Billingsley yells out, "How do you spell 12?" Somebody yelled back, "Write 2 checks, one for $10 and the other for $2."
Okay. Yep.
Maybe he couldn't spell 12, or maybe he just had a bad day at practice. I don't know. That whole year was just bizarre.
Alrighty then.
Uh, oh god. Okay. Foreman had sold the team in 1975 after being sued by Barry Parkhill, who claimed his checks had bounced. The team couldn't find a rudder. They had dozens. It claimed to be 100 or more investors, all technically at the helm. Checks kept bouncing. Attendance dwindled to nothing, and it sure looked like they'd follow the Baltimore Claws and the Utah Stars and shut down before the 76 season ended. The player had to take votes several times on whether they would play in games after not being paid. To their credit, they usually suited up, but it was touch and go pretty much every single night. On April 7th, 1967, the Squires lost their final game to the Nets. Dr. J had 38 points and 15 rebounds for the bad guys. Squires rookie forward Mel Bennett had a dunk so ferocious that it tilted the backboard, causing a 28-minute delay, and the Squirette dancers walked out of the game at halftime. About a month later, on May 11th, 2 days before the ABA playoffs began, and no, they did not make the playoffs that year, the
Okay.
Virginia franchise folded. On June 17th, a merger was announced between the ABA and the NBA. Denver, New York, Indiana, and San Antonio were accepted into the league, while Kentucky and St. Louis agreed to a financial settlement to not join. Virginia got nothing because it had folded a month earlier.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And that is the story of the Oakland Oaks, Washington Caps, and Virginia Squires.
Yeah. I mean, seems doomed from the start when the guy's like, "Oh, thank God someone will buy it." So,
To be fair, most of the teams seem doomed from the start. In fact, the ABA kind of seemed doomed from the
Oh,
start.
okay. The ABA specifically. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, a lot of the teams seemed like, I mean, if not, there's like, I know four teams made it, but really only like one or two of them seemed good the entire time.
Yeah. A
Most
lot
of
of
them are like, yeah,
lot of
what?
patchwork. A lot
Yeah,
of patchwork going on.
a lot of patchwork. A lot of people, like, if someone had not come in at the right time with money, it would have been bad. A lot of money lost on the ABA, which is crazy to me that now I heard, I saw something this morning that was like, I think the NBA Europe is going to have, the dog just barked really loud. Hopefully you
Oh,
can't hear
sorry.
it. I think the NBA Europe thing is going to happen soon because LeBron is going to take money from the Saudis and make his own league.
I told you this wasn't that long ago. I said I think the Live Golf was a proof of concept, and I feel like I know that it's just the Euro basket guy that has like cahoots with Joker, but
Yeah.
why wouldn't Joker help start a European league?
Yeah. Especially if you can get like money in a team, it makes sense.
Yeah, I I seriously I don't know. We'll see. I did, and now the NBA is like, oh, we're going to start a European league because they want to
Hmm.
get ahead of it because
Yeah,
it's coming.
for sure. There's definitely enough good players out there. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just
if Jabari Parker can be in Barcelona, then we know that there's good players out there.
is he still there?
I think so.
Oh,
I was all in on the Jabari Parker hype train back in the day.
yeah.
Way
It
above
seems
Andrew
like.
Wiggins.
Sorry about that.
He's better than
Um.
Andrew Wiggins, if not for the injuries.
Okay, you tell yourself that.
You don't think so?
I mean, look at the careers. What are you talking about?
I said if not for the injuries.
I don't know.
I guess I'd have to look at it. Maybe I'm wrong. Okay, so
Uh, uh, Andrew Wiggins' peak season was way better than Jabari Parker's peak season. So,
it's not okay. I don't not to explain the whole methodology, but it's not
Understood.
one peak season. Like I'm not going to say like, oh, because Aaron Brooks had that one really good year in Houston, he's a better player than I don't know, someone who had like Brooke Lopez. Brooke Robin. Who's
Yeah,
Brooke Robinson? Is that a person? Brooke Lopez,
I don't think so.
right? But like if all things are equal, which I would argue they are pretty close to equal between a
Except for
Peyton
the
Manning.
one thing that matters the most. Yeah.
No, that it's a team sport. It matters in like tennis.
It mattered. The whole point of playing the game is to win it. So it has
Yes,
to be the
yeah,
point.
no, it you're correct. I agree. But if you're ranking players, I'm ranking who do I want on my team. That then championships don't matter.
Winning them does.
No, they don't. It doesn't. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters a little bit, but it's not. It shouldn't be the number one metric. The ring culture in the
It's out of
NBA
hand.
is out of hand. It's out of hand in
Uh,
every sport. Rings matter, of course, for a franchise, and they matter for a player, but it's not the be all end all for a player. You can't tell me that just because Russell Westbrook has never won a title,
mhm.
that he isn't as good as, I don't know, like Rajon Rondo. Is Russell Westbrook worse than Rajon Rondo? No.
But I totally understand what you're saying. There is a severe talent gap in those. Like, there's not a huge talent gap in Brady Manning. They were
Yeah.
putting up very similar
They
statistical
both won titles.
profiles
They both won
their
multiple
entire
titles.
careers. So, and then like Peyton
It's
retired
also it's not similar across
and
their
Brady
entire
kept doing it.
careers. It's not similar across their entire careers. It's
Okay.
similar from like 2005 to 2014, but Peyton Manning was instantly one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Brady, it took him a long time to become one of the best quarterbacks in the league. They're not similar across their entire careers.
Okay.
That's factually not true.
I agree with what you're saying. I do think that the number of seasons with which they had high stat counts and significant seasons, there's a number of seasons is the same.
I think the best 5 years of Peyton Manning are better than the best 5 years of Tom Brady.
Yeah, except for like the 5 titles that Tom Brady won.
It doesn't matter. Who cares?
It does. Who cares? Oh, everyone that plays the sport,
That's
everyone
not, but
that's
that's
ever
not what
played.
we're ranking. I'm not ranking are the Patriots teams better than the Colts teams.
But every player who's ever played would say the point of doing this is to go win the Super Bowl, and
I agree.
it
But
makes you
you
better
were
if you
giving
beat me in the
You
Super
were
Bowl.
giving Tom Brady, and we shouldn't be talking. We should think of a basketball example.
Yes.
You were giving Tom Brady credit for winning 3 Super Bowls that he was not a good player in. That the Patriots had the best team in the league, and Tom Brady was a game manager. You were giving Tom Brady credit for that.
The best game manager?
That's like being like, oh, Alex Smith is just as good as Patrick Mahomes. That's
Why?
crazy. What?
Why?
Because because Peyton Manning was Patrick Mahomes back in the day, and Tom Brady was Alex Smith back in the day. And you were saying at the time when Tom Brady was Alex Smith, he was just as good as Peyton Manning. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I
What a
don't think we're
take.
ever I don't think we're ever coming to terms on this one.
You're
Okay.
just you're just like Shaq. You're just like rings, rings, Chuck, rings, Chuck. Show me your rings, Chuck. That's all you're doing.
Again,
And you're wrong.
I don't I think rings culture is out of hand. I'll agree with that. I think that Tom Brady has two separate Hall of Fame careers.
Maybe.
It's not a maybe.
I'll look at it after this and
He did it
I'll text you.
for
I'll
he
text you
did
my
it
thoughts
until the
later.
age of like 44 years old.
And now we got Aaron Rodgers thinking he could do it,
Yeah.
and he cannot.
I don't think it's gonna happen.
Dude, I saw the thing. Okay, we need to get out of here and also stop talking about football. But I'm going to share this last anecdote uh, that I saw because Jared Allen got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame recently.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats to my man, um, the best curler that the NFL's ever produced.
Okay.
Um, but there was a video of him talking about how like basically the sack record was stolen from him, much like Mark Gastineau, with Brett Favre being not only a trash human being, but
Yep.
also one of the worst quarterbacks to ever live as far as like ethical.
Oh, okay.
Maybe
Yeah.
not. He's a pretty good quarterback, but ethically, I hated him, and I still hate him. One of the few men or women, I should say, in the world that I would actively say I hate. Uh,
Oh, wow.
he's a trash person. And I was not a Vikings fan for a year when he was there, despite that being like the closest we've gotten to a Super Bowl in like
Forever.
30 years. They played in Super Bowls
That's
outside of
fair. No,
that.
yeah,
How
not
dare you?
forever, not forever.
Um, anyways, and Aaron Rodgers was in the video, and he was like, "Yeah, I agree. They took that record from Jared Allen."
Oh,
And
wow.
it popped up in the Vikings subreddit, and people were like, "Does he know he's not going to play here this year? Is he aware they already said that we don't want you?"
That's hilarious. Yeah, he's
Because he
something.
wanted so bad to go to Minnesota. He wanted it so bad,
Yeah.
and it did not happen. Instead, he's going to play on a trash franchise with the worst jerseys in sports. Have you? Sorry, I can't. I got to stop talking about football tangents. But the Steelers' alternate jerseys this year are
I'm
absolutely
not
god awful.
I have not
Look
seen them.
them up. Oh God. All right. So let's
All
get
right.
out of here because Dave has stuff to do. Technically, I do too, but I don't have as much of a timeline. So next time out, we will have a much shorter episode. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we don't go on too many tangents. And this time, next time, I guess, we're going to talk about the San Diego Conquistadors
Oh, heck
slash
yeah.
sales.
I love me a conquistador.
So we will see you all next time. Goodbye.
Peace.